Good morning, everybody. Alan here with the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair. And we're Florida Book Fair live right here on Facebook. And with me this morning is my favorite manager of the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair, Sarah Smith. Now, I got to say that, Sarah, good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Alan.
I got to say right up front here, so everybody knows that Sarah and I are not related. We share the same exciting, very popular name, but we are not related. And everybody should just know that. So we're getting really excited about the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair, and it's not that far away now. It's April 21st through the 23rd, and we're just very excited. How about you?
Good morning. I am very excited to spend time with you all and also to talk about the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair, which is just several weeks away. This is our 36th year, and we'll be meeting, as Alan mentioned, April 21st through the 23rd at St. Petersburg's Historic Coliseum in downtown St. Petersburg.
So where in the plans are you at this point? I know that there are a lot of dealers who are getting in touch with you because they are anticipating coming to the book fair. So it must be a very, very busy time for you right now.
This is a busy time of year. Yes, we're getting the Pipe and Drape Company ready to come in and make the Coliseum look like the book fair we all know and love. We've been in touch with the electrician who puts all of the lights up and makes the building bright, and just a lot of little details that go into making sure that the book fair runs smoothly. An exciting thing for me is that we're also organizing our sponsorships for this year's book fair. We're glad to offer many sponsorship opportunities this year for organizations wishing to be more closely involved in the book fair. Some of the opportunities that we still have available are a badge lanyard with a thumb drive for $1,000, and the lanyard includes a thumb drive, which makes it a useful item. It'll be worn by all of our exhibitors and assistant staff, and it's a great way to get your logo into the book fair. We're excited to announce that several organizations are already supporting the book fair as sponsors. In particular, Biblio is our diamond sponsor this year, and representatives of Biblio will appear here on Florida Book Fair Live and on the Rare Book Cafe, which is our live webcast. So
That's
we're
right.
very
And that's right. We should tell everyone that that's on Saturdays, and that's live streaming on Saturdays from 2:30 to 3:30 or thereabout. We try to end by 3:30, but sometimes we have such fascinating things going on that we have to go on beyond that. But yes, and we're looking forward to having our guests from Biblio on there, and we'll let you know more about that soon.
Thank you, Alan. We're just very pleased that these organizations understand the benefits that the book fair brings to book lovers and collectors.
Well, now, as I wanted to ask you about the Pipe and Drape folks. They come in now. Of course, I've been there, so I know this, but a lot of people may not know this. They come in early, of course, and set up everything, and then the dealers come. And tell us what the process is there, how that happens.
So it's pretty amazing to walk into the Coliseum on a Thursday morning, and you just walk into really a cavernous area. It's a large wooden dance hall, as many of you know, and to convert it from just this bare canvas into the book fair that we're all familiar with is an exciting process. The Pipe and Drape Company comes in early Thursday morning and puts up our booths and tables. The Showcase Company comes in with their large glass showcases. And then dealers come in Friday morning beginning at 7 a.m. Many of the dealers have lined up starting at 6 a.m. And the dealers spend the day unpacking their books getting their booths arranged in a way that represents their shop, and mingling with one another, and then getting ready for patrons to arrive at 5 p.m. It's a long but rewarding day.
Well, they are always the book dealers always seem in a frantic rush early in the morning, and then miraculously they have created these little their spaces and turned them into little bookshops. And years ago, somebody described this as a little book city. And I've always thought that that was a great description of what the book fair is. It is indeed a little book city, and it like Brigadoon, it seems to just materialize out of the mist, doesn't it?
It's pretty phenomenal.
So as we move forward to the to getting ready, what now you have, let me back up here a minute. You have been the manager of the book fair now for how many years?
This will be my 10th year managing the book fair. I spent an additional year interning with our previous manager, Larry Kellogg. So it's my 11th year in management.
So having that experience with over these many years, to someone who's coming to the book fair for the first time, what would you give? What kind of advice would you give them? Now we're looking for inside information about how would you get the most out of the book fair?
Well, something that I would suggest doing is visiting our website. You can access it through floridabooksellers.com by clicking on the book fair tab, or you can go to floridaantiquarianbookfair.com. And on our website, you'll see a link that says 2017 exhibitors. I would click on that link and go over the list of exhibitors. There are a number of small bookshops represented inside of the Coliseum, and it's really a lot to see within a short amount of time. And something that you can do ahead of time is look over the exhibitor information, and along with their contact information, their areas of specialty are listed. So if there's a particular item or subject area that you're interested in, you can look at that exhibitor list and get an idea of where which dealers you might want to visit in order to find those things. Something that you will see listed in many cases is general or general antiquarian. And in that case, the dealer has a number of specialties. They collect things that are rare and unusual, and you'll find items from a number of subject areas in that booth. But you'll also find some dealers who specialize, for instance, in children's books or maps. You might find dealers who specialize in Civil War or military history. And in that case, you'll know before the fair even opens its doors which particular dealers you'll want to go see. When you walk in the doors, we have a printed program that's available. It has a map of the interior of the Coliseum and the location of all of the dealers in the show. They're listed there in alphabetical order and also in order of their booth number. So you can use that reference list in order to find particular dealers and their location within the Coliseum. And it's pretty handy. I would bring a pen so that you can take notes. A lot of times dealers come to the information booth, and patrons come to the information booth searching for a particular dealer that they saw, and they can describe the dealer to me, but can't remember exactly where in the building that dealer was. So if you bring a pen and create notes as you're walking around, that should be helpful as well. But I'd say just give yourself enough time to enjoy the dealers and their wares. These dealers come from all over the country. They bring some of their most special items, and a lot of times these are books that you'll not see anywhere else in the world, and in some cases things that you can touch and investigate and ask questions about with someone who really understands the item well. And the dealer in that case becomes almost a docent. They're ready sources of information. They can answer a lot of questions, and they're all very glad to share their knowledge with you.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed over the years in being involved with the book fair is that the book dealers are very, very knowledgeable, and they are always willing to share their knowledge and to because they are thrilled when they find people who have like interests, and they're always willing to share their information. One of the things that I should mention here is that that we are talking to some of the dealers. Now, we're not going to get to all of them before the book fair, but in these live sessions that we are doing on Facebook, Florida Book Fair live broadcast, like the one that you're watching now, we are talking to various dealers who are able to talk to us from their home base, and they're showing us some of the things that are like what they are likely to bring to the book fair. In some cases, they've chosen, they know exactly what they're bringing, and have been able to do that. So I would encourage people to watch these broadcasts. You can find them all right here on Facebook. Just scroll back down the timeline, and you should be able to find a lot of the broadcasts we've already done, and that'll give you some detail. I'm glad you mentioned the program that is there, because I've seen a lot of people just skip the program, and what they miss out on is the opportunity to know about all of the dealers and to keep track of what they've seen, right?
The program is a very useful tool, and it certainly is. We actually have patrons who have collections.
Not the version that we see today. So that's a nice piece.
Hi, Lindsay. What year is that one? Thompson has joined us. Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Let's see.
Somewhere.
I'm sorry, 1930.
1931. So early in the life of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, and that was
somewhere something is playing from a previous broadcast.
Various.
If anybody has
come across
anything, maybe it's me.
Around, I've got.
Let me see if I'm doing this. Maybe I am. Oh, let me make that go away. All right, are we good now?
I think so.
Welcome, Lindsay.
Well, hi. I don't want to interrupt, but it's such a fascinating discussion, and when I signed in, the image kicked me over to YouTube, where it's astonishingly clear and very, very crisp in the audio. And so whatever you've done, Alan, it's a Boffo production today.
Well, that's I'm glad to hear that. Some days are better than others, aren't they?
And then I was just curious when you got off on the subject of ephemera as it relates to social practices and conventions, because that's something I've always been interested in from a literary standpoint. In Edith Wharton and Henry James and virtually all of the great 19th century novels, things like dance cards and the carte de visite play a big role in how people interact with each other. And there were these elaborate codes that went along with things like ladies going around to see each other when they were at home in the afternoons and leaving their cards. And I was curious to ask if our guest has much traffic in those ladies' visitors cards.
Sarah?
Lindsay, I appreciate your question. We do have some ephemera dealers who exhibit at the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair.
As a matter of fact, yes. Yesterday we had the good fortune to talk with Barbara Lowe, Cartique, right? And Barbara is I think she's almost local, isn't she? She lives in
think she's an Osprey.
in Osprey, which is south of Sarasota. And she is, yes, she will, I think, most definitely have the kinds of things that you're talking about.
Yeah, ephemera is a really, it's a neat category. A lot falls under it, and dealers who specialize in ephemera. Ephemera is an item that wasn't necessarily meant to be kept for a long period of time. So the dance cards, as you brought up, also advertisements, some maps and prints, items urging people to go visit a certain place or take part in a certain activity, all that falls under ephemera. And those dealers have always been of interest to me in particular, Lindsay. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, I
Last year,
realized the applications of it in terms other than purely collecting until I came across this book called Who Wore What by Juanita Leash. And it's a fascinating survey of women's apparel in the Civil War. And what she did was analyze thousands of visitors' cards, because as photography came into vogue, people put their cards, you could go to a photo studio and get a picture of yourself taken for your card. And so because women at that time did not have, except for the fabulously wealthy, didn't have tremendous wardrobes, you can discern a lot about class and status and what people wore from these visiting cards. And I think that's part of what makes the allure of ephemera so great, is that it can tell you so much about a time where all that is otherwise virtually forgotten.
Thank you, Lindsay. Certainly.
one of the things that that Barbara Lowe was showing us yesterday was advertising pieces that were calendars and other advertising pieces that were intended to, of course, influence the homeowner to stay with a certain brand, and I found those fascinating. I think that she's going to have a lot of very interesting things, and I know that there are quite a number of dealers who bring ephemera to the fair, aren't there, Sarah?
Yes, and that's something, again, that dealers who say that they have a general stock or a general antiquarian stock, those are dealers that you'll want to look for under the specialties, as we mentioned, on the exhibitor website and also in the program. A lot of antiquarian book dealers have ephemera. Even dealers who don't necessarily have ephemera as a focus for their collections oftentimes have a small collection of ephemera available if you ask for it.
What else can a new patron and a new fairgoer do to prepare that so that they can get the very best out of the event? The event's 3 days. What day should they choose to go?
I would urge them to come all 3 days. The book fair is very large. There are a number of dealers, and the hall itself is quite large. And you may find that it's more or less crowded at certain times of the day. So it might be easier to come back to a certain booth. For instance, if it's quite full on Friday evening, you may find that Sunday afternoon it's less so. I would urge you to wear comfortable shoes, to wear clothing that you feel comfortable walking around in. I would urge you to, there are some great tutorial videos available on YouTube, some of which were filmed by Alan, regarding just some basic collector's terms. If you can familiarize yourself with the vocabulary used by antiquarian book dealers, it'll help you, well, first of all, it'll help you to be more knowledgeable, but also it'll help you to follow a dealer's discussion. Sometimes we use terms that the general public may not be familiar with. The sizing vocabulary regarding binding, things like that. We have tutorial videos on all of that available on YouTube. Maybe Alan can post a link for it. And I would watch a few tutorials, get yourself familiar with the trade, and that way you'll be more knowledgeable in your discussion, and also you'll be a more educated listener as you get into these conversations with exhibitors at the book fair.
Now, is it you say it's a good idea to go all 3 days, but let's talk a little bit about what the rhythm of the fair is. When it starts, and of course it starts in the evening. Let's talk about that a little bit, and then the other days of the fair, because I think that's something, if you haven't been to the fair before, that's something that would be very helpful.
Friday evening, we open with live music. This year, I believe we'll have a classical pianist, and so it has a nicer ring to it. As you're walking through the Coliseum, you can enjoy the strains of classical music. Sometimes it's a dressier evening. I do see people wearing suits, women wearing dresses. Certainly any attire is encouraged. Whatever you're comfortable in is fine. But Friday does tend to be a little bit dressier. A lot of times people come early on Friday so that they can see as much as possible of the wares as they're first turned out. It's a good, if you're looking for an item that's quite rare or collectible, it's best to go on Friday evening, sometimes before people have been looking over the books. That way you'll get a fresh look at everything, and you have a better chance of getting something before it's sold. Saturday and Sunday are, again, just great opportunities to span the floor. It's a very large hall, and there are a number of exhibitors present who've come from all over the country. It's really a very unique opportunity to find items that you will not find anywhere else. But more than that, it's a chance to discuss with these exhibitors their areas of specialty. Many of them are incredibly knowledgeable about their specific interest area. Many are very knowledgeable about the antiquarian trade in general, but it's just a really unique opportunity to discuss the ins and outs of the trade with people who are passionate about it. This is their livelihood, but it's their life. These dealers are very passionate about what they do, and I would give yourself enough time to talk with the exhibitors who are there. We are book people, and some of us are better with books than with other people, but I would encourage you to bring up your area of interest and to really get information. Use this as a learning opportunity. A lot of the trade has gone to internet, and there's a loss there. When you're purchasing something online, there's not the same opportunity to discuss with the exhibitor the material that you're looking at. And a lot of times there are things that there are a lot of unknowns when you're purchasing online. When you're purchasing directly from an exhibitor, it gives you the opportunity to speak one-on-one with the exhibitor, to ask questions, and also to see the item up close in a way that you would not be able to online. Also, if you know what you're interested in, you can ask an exhibitor if they have items in your interest area. And many times they'll have things that aren't listed anywhere. You know, they may have a small volume tucked into a drawer somewhere that is just what you're looking for. And this is a great opportunity to learn about that.
A lot of times the dealers, as you say, they have things that they haven't necessarily put out, but they think is special, and they want to. When they find the right person, of course, they're going to bring it out, and they're going to talk about it. But one of the things that the dealers are doing with us is some of them are sharing what they're going to bring to the book fair. Now, I mentioned that in the videos we've been doing that they've been able to show us some things. But some of them are also sharing with us pictures of volumes and descriptions of volumes that they are going to bring. And so I would encourage people to watch for a feature that we'll have on the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair blog soon, called First Look, which gives you an opportunity to see some of these things, some of the things that are coming. Now, I saw a sweet young lady there. I'm going to switch back to here so we can see the sweet young lady. Hi there. Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Are you awake yet?
Grace
Just
has
barely,
been, my son Quentin is with a friend today, so Gracie has been quietly entertaining herself for a while. And
yes. No, and of course, Grace is one of my favorite models. She just I see her at the bookstore a lot, and have the opportunity to take her picture, and she just is the perfect model. So it's very nice to see you, Gracie.
thank you. Thank you. I think Grace may be feeling a little shy.
Well, don't tell her that there are millions of people out in the world who are watching her even as we speak. Don't tell her that. Sarah, oh goodness, she's. Oh, I think I'm getting sleepy. Sarah, one of the things that earlier we had talked a little bit about our sponsor, one of our major sponsors, Biblio. And we're very pleased to have Biblio on board, and we look forward to seeing some of the we'll have guests from Biblio on our programs here soon. But I know that you have some other organizations that are supportive of our of the book fair, and opportunities for others to participate. So if they wanted to participate, what should they do? What if somebody wanted to be a sponsor and have a higher profile at the book fair, what should they do?
I'm very glad that you asked, Alan. They should contact me. We really have a phenomenal package available. There are a number of sponsorship opportunities, from sealing stickers to opening night music, and they're very reasonably priced, and they're great advertising opportunities. The sealing stickers, for instance, every purchase made at the book fair must be bagged and sealed. And so these sealing stickers are on every package that exits the hall. It's just a really great way to advertise your business. That's available for a $1,000 sponsorship. Opening night live music is a $500 sponsorship, and there will be signage. You can provide a sign advertising your business. It will be on the stage throughout the entire night's festivities, and you'll be mentioned in our program as well, and during announcements that evening. Again, there are just a lot of different unique opportunities to advertise your business. I urge you to contact me. We have a wonderful brochure available.
I'm going to put your number up. I can't put it up right now, but I will put it up in the comments for this session. But let's go ahead and get you to give your telephone numbers and also email address so that people will be able to contact you.
All right. My phone number is 727-234-7759. 727-234-7759. And my email address is floridabookfair@gmail.com. That's floridabookfair@gmail.com. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, Sarah, I know that you have a lot of things to deal with, and you have a young lady there who needs some attention too. So I want to give you the opportunity to go and do those things. Before we depart, let me ask Lindsay if he has any other questions that he would like to ask of you.
No. I'm glad that Sarah was able to clarify what ceiling stickers are, because just hearing the term spoken, I was trying to imagine what you'd be looking at walking around, and people would be bumping into each other a little bit.
The feeling of the Coliseum is
As Emily Latella used to say, never mind.
so yes, the dance hall has incredibly high ceilings. That would be an interesting advertising opportunity. Probably not widely viewed. Fortunately, these ceiling stickers are used to seal packages, and they'll be seen by every patron who makes a purchase at the book fair.
You'd best go placate the rabbit before it attacks you.
It's dangerously close, isn't it?
Again, Sarah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to be here on Florida Book Fair Live, and we will be here. I want to say a couple of things. These are a couple of plugs. I'll be back here this afternoon with a preview for the Rare Book Cafe. We'll be talking. Who will we be talking with? Let's see.
Wonderland Books.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
That should be a wonderful interview.
Larry Rayco.
Yes.
Yes, Larry Rayco from
incredible
Wonderland Books in Ohio, and he will be visiting us on Saturday. You'll be able to see him live streamed on Saturday, but we're going to do a little bit of a preview this afternoon at 2:00. Now, there are a couple of other things that I want to mention, and Lindsay, what else do we have coming up on Saturday at for the Rare Book Cafe live stream?
Well, it's going to be an interesting program, Alan, because Steve Eisenstein is going to talk about appraisals and how you determine a value for your books other than looking at the highest price you can find on one of the online services. And then Thorne Donnelly is going to talk about bibliomania, which is the psychotic obsession with collecting books that sometimes manifests itself in stealing them as a way to build up a big collection of rare books quick and cheap. And then I'll be taking a couple minutes to talk about one of the more famous literary bonfires in history, how when Thomas Macaulay finished his first volume of his History of the French Revolution, he sent it to his friend John Stuart Mill to read. This was when everything was written out in longhand.
Oh,
and Mill's maid used the manuscript, all 380 pages of it, to light fires in the Mill household.
Oh my goodness.
An awkward moment ensued. And I'll be talking a little bit about that on Saturday too.
Okay, and then coming up tomorrow on the Florida Antiquarian Book or Florida Book Fair Live will be Dave Hamilton. Dave Hamilton is a one of our favorite book dealers in Georgia.
Certainly.
And he will be joining us to talk a little bit about what he is bringing. And then on Friday, we'll be talking with Ronald Cozy from Buffalo, New York, and we'll have a conversation with him. That'll be at 2:00 in the afternoon. We are doing our broadcast at 10:00 in the morning, and I just want to remind everybody that unless we're on our deathbeds, we will be here at 10:00 in the morning to give you an update and then on occasion we will be also here later on if some of the people we want to talk to are not available at 10 o'clock. So we'll let you know about that as well. On Sunday, it'll be my pleasure to have a conversation with one of our favorite Florida historians, who also happens to be an excellent cartoonist and caricaturist, Rob Smith.
Okay.
Rob is always here at the book fair. We can always count on him to be at the book fair. You see him in the lobby usually, and he will be doing caricatures, and so we'll be talking with him on Sunday at 8 p.m. And then next week we'll have some other book dealers that we'll be trying to talk to, and we'll be doing that daily. So check back here on the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair page on Facebook, and we will be doing that as often as we can to let you know about the people who are coming to the book fair. This is a great way to get an early look at what who's coming and what they're bringing, and then that also gives you an opportunity to make your plans for the book fair when you come to the book fair. We're going to be talking about how you can get tickets to the book fair. That'll also be a subject of one of these sessions. So we'll be talking about that, and we'll be talking about also how you can get a little bit, save a little bit on some of those tickets. Sarah, thank you so much for being here with us, and we're going to sign off now. But we're looking forward to the book fair. We're looking forward to all the fun, and we just can't wait.
Thank you very much, Alan, and thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next month.